Mr. Nickel, how are you?
Good, Your Honor.
Good. Well, we'll wait the jail and then we'll get started. We'll do Guantama Habtalum. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but we'll do that, gentleman. I believe that's a gentleman
Yes, and
first.
it's
All right.
believe it's pronounced Habtalum.
Habtalum. Thank you. Gautama Habtalum. All right. Good morning, Jail. I don't think anybody's there yet.
There's David.
Good morning.
I saw you. I didn't mean to rush you. I was,
Oh, no, you're good. We were just bringing one in and it took him a little bit to get in here, that's all.
All right, we'll be doing Mr. Hobdalum first.
Gotcha. All right, actually, he's going up first. They must see first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're on the record in docket 22022769. Sir, you are Gautama Hobdalum.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Nickel, your appearance for the record.
Yes, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Mr. Hubtalum for arraignment this morning.
And this is the time set for arraignment. Sir, I'll read the charges that have been brought against you, and then I'll read some of your rights concerning those charges. It is alleged in the complainant felony that on or about May 2nd, 2022 at 700 North Pine Street in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, state of Michigan, yourself, Mr. Hubtalum, did in count one knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine, contrary to the laws of the state of Michigan, that being 333.7403, parents 2, parents B, parents I. That's a felony, 10 years and or $15,000. Also in count two, did knowingly or intentionally possess a controlled substance of alprazolam, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 33.7403, parents 2, parents B, parents 2, small I. That being a felony, 2 years and or $2,000. And in count three, did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Officer Jamil Bakri or Officer Troy Magrum, police officers of the Lansing Police Department, that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties contrary to MCL 750.81D, parent 1. That's a felony and or $2,000. A consecutive sentence may be imposed pursuant to the laws of the state of Michigan if the assault was committed in a place of confinement or under the laws of the state of Michigan for another violation arising from the same transaction. Do you understand the allegations that have been brought against you, sir?
I do.
All right. You have certain rights in this felony case. I'll read you those rights. You have the right to a trial by jury or by bench trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until be proven guilty. You have the right to prove for the prosecutor to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have the witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses. You, of course, are represented by Scott Nickel for purposes of this arraignment. Do you plan to seek representation from the public defender's office in future hearings? Mr. Nickel, does Mr. Hubtalum wish to be represented by your office in future hearings?
Yes, and I did collect the information to make the application.
Thank you. Sir, Mr. Hubtalum?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. You have the right to have the witnesses against you appear at trial. You have the question the witnesses against them. You have the right to court order any witnesses that they have for defense to appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silent used against you, and you have the right to testify at trial. Do you understand your felony trial rights, sir? Mr. Hubtalum, do you understand your felony trial rights? Mr. Hubtalum?
Yes.
Do you understand your felony trial rights? Yes. Okay. You also have the right to a probable cause hearing within 21 days of this arraignment. A probable cause hearing is a hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. Do you understand that right, sir? Yes. Is that a yes, Mr. Hubtalum?
Yes.
All right, your probable cause conference date in front of Judge Simmons is set for October 28th, 2022 at 8:30. And your preliminary examination date is set for November 2nd, November 4th, 2022 at 8:30. Sir, do you have an address for the court's file? Mr. Abtalam?
921 Blanchett.
Okay, so the address is the same as, it's 921 Blanchett Drive, that's East Lansing.
You gotta wake up and say yes or no.
Yeah, yes, sir.
48823. Do you have a phone number, sir?
Yeah,
Mr. Abtalam,
Yeah.
do you have a phone number?
yes, I do.
What's your phone number?
313 800
313
800 92
313, and then the next number?
800
800
9276.
9276. Are you on probation or parole, sir?
Yeah,
No?
I don't think so. Or
Are you employed?
I am.
Where are you employed?
I do DoorDash, Grubhub, and Instacart services.
All right. I'm gonna automatically enter a not guilty plea at this arraignment for you. Counsel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor, I did have a chance to speak with Mr. Hubtalam, and I would note, sorry, would note that he lives in the Lansing area with his aunt and his uncle. He did not report to me any history of failing to appear for court dates, or anything that I think might make him a flight risk. Although I would note, he does appear to be on probation in Clinton County. And it does appear that there is a probation violation warrant that is going to hold him. So I would be asking the court to enter a 10% bond in this file so that Mr. Hubtalam will earn credit, because it is unlikely, based on the nature of that warrant, that Clinton County wouldn't come pick him up, and it's unlikely that they would release him prior to that hearing being conducted.
All right. So if Mr. Abtalam is able to make bond, these are his bond conditions. This is based on the controlled substance nature and the assaultive behavior. So no use of alcohol or drugs without prescription, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel. There's no possession of a firearm.
There we
Due
go.
to the criminal history of a misdemeanor and the questionable the probation out of Clinton County, and some question as to the status of that case, the court will set bond at 4,010%. Oh, he should report to free trial services within 48 hours. What's that? No. So 4,000, 10% is the amount of bond. Let me make sure I sign that. Anything else for the file, Mr. Nickel?
No, just as a reminder to Mr. Hubtalam that I did inform him that if, because of what's going on, he feels that he needs medical care, just to let the officers know. Sure,
All
they
right,
will take care of
Mr. Hub. Thank you, Mr. Nickel. Mr. Hubtalam, your next date would be in front on October 28th and November 4th in front of Judge Simmons. So we're all set on that file, 2202769. And then, Mr. Hubtalam, I have two other files that I'm just I'll call them, and then Mr. Nickel, I'm just going to refer them to collections, okay?
Yeah,
They're
sure.
both collections files.
That is what I thought they appeared to be earlier when I.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
three
okay.
collections files. Why does this one have a P53?
It doesn't, that's just the form we have to use on the weekend appeal again. It's about-
Okay.
it just says not to be held on the charge.
All right, so Mr. Abtalam, once again. Mr. Abtalam,
Speak up, Jim.
all right, Mr. Abtalam, I'm gonna call three more files and I'm just gonna refer them to collections, okay? This is docket 1805853. And you, sir, are Gautama Abtalam? Mr. Abtalam?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Nicola, your appearance for the record?
Yes, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Mr. Hubtalam.
All right, this was a bench warrant for balance of $150, and I'm just gonna refer it to collections. Have to sign that. That's all for the record in 1805853. The next file is Mr. Abtalam 1802215. Mr. Abtalam.
Okay.
Mr. Abtalam, gotta wake up.
Sir.
All right. What, we got two more files left. Okay. All right, Mr. Abtalam, this is docket 1802215. You are Gautama Abtalam.
Yes. Sir.
All right, Mr. Nicola, your appearance for the record.
And again, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Mr. Hubtalam for arraignment.
All right, and in this case, Mr. Abtalam, there's an outstanding balance of $90 and it'll be referred to collections. So you are to report to collections within 48 hours. That's all for the record in this file, Mr. Abtalam. And then finally, we have one last file for fail to appear. This is not a collections, is it?
It's going to collections.
Okay. All right, Mr. Abtalam, I'm going to call the case of 1801585. And sir, you are Gautama Abtalam, is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Nicola, your appearance for the record.
Again, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Mr. Hubtalam.
And this appears to be a fail to pay for $90, and this will be referred to collections. D to report within 48 hours. And that's all for the record in docket 1801585. So you're all set, Mr. Abtalam. Thank you, Mr. Nichol.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
And then we have Mr. Nicholas Dagner would be the next. Calling to the record a new case. Sir, you are Nicholas Dagner.
Yes, sir.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Yes, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Mr. Dagner for arraignment today.
All right. So this is the time set for arraignment. I'm going to read the charges and then read you some of your rights in this felony case. The allegations in the complaint at this time are on or about October 15th, 2022 at 1416 Vermont, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan. Yourself, Nicholas Dagner, did in count one make an assault upon Jason Gray and or Jordan Morgan and or Robert Terranova and or James Garlitz with a dangerous weapon, to wit, a baseball bat, but without intending to commit the crime of murder and to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder, contrary to law, state of Michigan, that being 750.82, that's felony and or $2,000. That's a 4-year felony and or $2,000 as the ultimate penalty. DNA to be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed pursuant to 750506 if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. There's also an alternative count that's been issued. Alternative to count 1 is count 2, which indicates that yourself, Nicholas Dagner, did on the same date and time assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Jason Gray, Jordan Morgan, and Robert Terranova, and or James Garlitz, a firefighter that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her duties contrary to the law, state of Michigan, that being 750.81 parents D. This is a felony, 2 years and or $2,000. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the laws of the state of Michigan if the assault was committed in a place of confinement, or under MCL 75081D6 for another violation arising from the same transaction. Sir, do you understand the nature of the charges that have been brought against you?
Yes, sir.
They're only allegations at this point. You have certain rights in this felony file. I'll go through those rights with you. You have the right to be tried by a bench or a jury trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses appear against you at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses. You, of course, are represented by Scott Nickel from the Public Defender's Office. Do you plan to seek further representation from the Public Defender's Office?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you. You have the right to question any witnesses brought against you. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that may appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. You have the right to testify at trial if you want to testify at trial. Do you understand your trial rights in this case, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have a preliminary examination right. You have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people of the state of Michigan would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime was committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You of course could be represented by counsel and should be represented by counsel at that probable cause hearing. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes.
Do you have your next date in this case will be via Zoom, a probable cause conference if available on October 28, 2022 at 8:30. And then the preliminary examination, which will be in person, will be November 4th, 2022 at 8:30. Both of those are in front of Judge Ward. Sir, do you still have the same address for the court file, that Vermont Avenue address?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's 1416 Vermont Avenue.
Yes.
Okay, Lansing, Michigan, 48906. Do you have a phone number for the court file, sir?
Is 517-202-1949.
All right. Are you on probation or parole?
No.
All right. Are you employed, sir?
No, sir.
All right. The court will automatically enter a not guilty plea at arraignment for purposes of arraignment. Mr. Nickel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Dagner this morning. He informed me that he has lived in Lansing his entire adult life. He did not report a history of failing to appear for any court proceedings. He does have some criminal history, although I would note his most recent assaultive charge was from 2010, so it's been almost a decade since he has been even charged with anything assaultive. I would note that Mr. Dagner currently has a legal guardian. He was struck by a car 2 years ago, has a traumatic brain injury that causes both memory issues, other cognitive issues, and seizures. So he does have some serious, I guess, medical concerns to deal with. I understand that this is an assaultive charge and they are felonies. But he does have the supervision of a family member in the area, does have a stable address to live at. He informs me his father will help him memorize court dates, make sure that he is complying with all bond conditions and other things, and will make sure that he gets to court and as needed. And so I had asked the court to consider either a personal recognizance bond with reasonable bond conditions to protect the safety of the community, or a low 10% bond, so that Mr. Dagner can be out of custody while this proceeds and make sure he continues with the continuity of his medical care. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. If Mr. Dagner is able to make bond, I'll set the following bond conditions: no use of alcohol or drugs, no assaultive behavior, no out-of-state travel, no possession of a firearm, report to pretrial services within 48 hours. This is a different type of assaultive crime because the fire department was just doing what they were supposed to do. And then there appeared to be some interaction involving a bat with, but I'm not sure what that was. That's what the preliminary examination's for. I do have a criminal history that I'll indicate for the record. There isn't a prior MDOP and assault battery out of 2000. There's a drunk driving and a drunk driving out of 2005 and impaired, a disorderly jostling out of 2009, a second disorderly jostling out of 2009, a misdemeanor assault and battery, and of resisting and obstructing out of 2010, operating while impaired out of 2013, and a flee and elude out of 2018. So somewhat of a substantial criminal history. I'm going to set bond at 5,010%. Sir, you understand, and you'll get a notice of paperwork that your next date is to be in front of Judge Ward on October 28th. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and you'll receive some documentation to that effect. That should be all for the record on this new file that does not have a case number. So this file on Nicholas Dagner. And then we'll do Casey Page next.
Oh, so- oh, you didn't first.
This is the older one. All right, I'm gonna somewhat, this is a fail to appear warrant, but this is such an older case, we're gonna go through some of the conditions of bond again, just for our purposes. So I'm on the record in docket 1800424. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Casey Rebecca Page. Ma'am, you are Casey Rebecca Page.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Nichol, your appearance for the record.
Yes, Assistant Public Defender Scott Nichol on behalf of Ms. Page for arraignment today.
All right. This is the time set for, oh, you had a new one. This is the time set for arraignment on a bail to appear for a jury trial set in front of Judge Clark on April 24th, 2018. So that is why you had a warrant out for you. You'll be given a new date concerning your appearance on a jury trial for Judge Ward's. So once you're back in the rotation, they'll reassign the file. And you should get that within 48 hours of today's date. Do you have an address for the court file, a current address, ma'am?
Yes, 1220 Boy Shot Road.
1220 Barshut Road, is that the address?
Boy Shot,
Boy Shot,
yeah,
all right, and that's in Lansing, Michigan,
yes.
48906. Do you have a phone number?
Yes, 517
517
803
803
6940.
6940. Are you on probation or parole?
No,
All right, are you employed, ma'am?
not currently.
Okay. I'll enter it. This is a fail to appear, so I don't have to worry about the not guilty plea for purposes of arraignment. Mr. Nickel, would you like to be heard on bond in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, I did have a chance to speak with Miss Page. She did inform me that she does not remember getting notice of any court dates for this file, and that's why she failed to appear. She is here today. And this is an assault and battery. It's about 4 years old. It looks like the only other entry on Miss Page's criminal history is a third-degree retail fraud matter from around the same time. So I would ask the court to consider either a PR bond or a low 10% bond so that Miss Page can be out of custody while this resides. She understands the importance of keeping in contact with the public defender's office. She has made application for the public defender's office with updated information. So I'd ask the court to give her either a PR bond or a 10% bond.
All right, if you're able to make bond, I'll indicate the following bond conditions. I could just continue the bonds as is, but I just want to state them since this is an older case that there's going to be GPS ordered and GPS notification to the complaining victim in this case. That no assaultive behavior, no use of alcohol or drugs without a prescription, no out-of-state travel, no contact with the victim. Jamie Lowers is the victim in this case. That would be continued. That was part of the original bond conditions on the failed to appear. No firearms. This case provides a little bit of a difference since there's a limited history, but the prior judge asked for remand because of the failed to appear for jury trial. This is a jury trial set, and the defendant was remanded. I don't see an active CCH concerning this individual other than the retail fraud. But I do have a failed to appear for jury trial and a failed to appear for pre-trial. The cash was the initial bond was set at 300 cash. That didn't seem to do it. And then it went up from there, and then eventually a remand. The failed to appear at pre-trial, which was March 13th of 2018, was set at 5,000 cash or surety, which is so I'm going to set a bond in this case at the peril of this person being failed to appear for 4 years. But the new date and the new judge, it's essential that you answer that jury trial date, ma'am. Do you understand that?
Yes, I know.
All right, I'm going to set bond at $4,000, 10%.
Your Honor, just quick, could I get the spelling of the last name of the complaining witness?
You can. The spelling of the last name is Lowers, Lowers. First name is spelled a little bit different also. So I'll give you the first name. It's Jamie, Jayme.
So, Your Honor, as to the condition of not the no contact order, but a GPS tether, I would just note for the record, I've been able to verify with Otis Jamie Lowers is in the Michigan Department of Corrections.
All right.
If the date of birth is February 9th of 2001.
Yeah. If you can verify that, I'm sure I've got to confirm that as the victim and to confirm that that date of birth is the same. If that's able to be confirmed, then whoever you get a pretrial can lift that portion of it, since there's not any type of, but I just don't know it right now. I'd be guessing at what's in the computer and the date of birth in regards to in regards to Jamie Lowndes. So I understand counsel's point completely, Jamie Lowers, but I'm just treating it as a new arraignment just because it's so old.
Understood,
If you're
Your
able to, yeah, if you're able, Mr. Nickel, if you're able to confirm that, then that obviously takes care of victim notification and GPS.
I can, if it would be helpful, I can forward that to Your Honor following the arraignment so that.
Yeah, so if you forward it to me, I'll make sure it'll go to Judge Simmons. Will have the actual jury trial date, but I'll make sure she gets that information, or I will make note of it so this can be removed if the victim is in the Department of Corrections.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And you, Mr. Nickel, you can forward that to Wendy Holden, and then she'll see that Judge Simmons' staff gets that.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Anything else for the record in 1800424, Mr. Nickel?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Page, you're all set. Your case will be assigned to Judge Simmons, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then the last arraignment we have is by I have it by mobile arraignment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Just give me a minute or two and I'll get right on the iPad here, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Ron?
I sure can, sir.
All right.
All right.
Ms. Lopez, you're up.
All right, I'm going to call to the docket. Well, this is a new case, so it doesn't have a number. Ma'am, you are Catalina Sue Lopez?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right.
Sorry,
Mr.
what?
Nickel, your appearance for the record?
Yes, this is Public Defender Scott Nickel on behalf of Ms. Lopez for arraignment today.
All right, Ms. Lopez, is the date set for arraignment. I'm going to read you the allegations that have been brought against you and some rights you have in regards to the allegations. I'd like you to remember, ma'am, that they're only allegations at this point. The felony complaint reads that on October 15, 2022, at 420 North Lark, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that yourself, Catalina Sue Lopez, did in count one make an assault upon Alex Harris and/or Nathan Bigelow with a dangerous weapon, to wit a knife, but without intending to commit the crime of murder or to inflict great bodily harm less than the crime of murder, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan. That's MCL 750.82. That's a felony, 4 years and or $2,000. DNA may be taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the laws of the state of Michigan if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Ma'am, do you understand the nature of the felony complaint that's been brought against you?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have certain rights concerning this felony complaint that's been brought, and I'm going to go through those with you. Your trial rights. You have the right to have a trial by any kind. You can be tried by a jury or by a judge. You can be presumed innocent to be proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses appear against you at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses. You, of course, have Scott Nickel from the Public Defender's Office for purposes of arraignment only. Do you plan to seek further representation from the Public Defender's Office in this case?
Pardon me?
Do you, are you going, is the Public Defender going to be representing you in further hearings in this case?
Pretty sure.
Mr. Nickel, is that your understanding?
Yeah,
Yes.
she did make application and
All right,
I expect that she will be approved.
all right, thank you. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that you have your defense to appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you. And you have the right to testify at trial if you want. Do you understand your trial rights in this felony case, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have the right to have one of the rights you have is a right to a probable cause hearing or preliminary examination within 21 days of this arraignment. A probable cause hearing is a hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime was committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You'd also have representation by counsel at that hearing. That hearing is set, and you should get written notice of this on October 27th, 2022 is the probable cause conference. The PCC on October 27th, 2022 is set for 8:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. And the preliminary examination, which would be in person, is set for November 3rd, 2022 at 9:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. Do you have an address for the court file, ma'am?
Hey, back up, man. Back up. I'm in the middle so I can see a perfect deal. The heck, man? The heck?
Ma'am, do you have an address for the court file? Is that Rotterdam Road address still good?
724 North Pennsylvania Avenue, apartment 19.
All right, Mr. Nickel, you might have to help with the address here. I've got a Rotterdam Road address.
So the address we have in our file is 712 Princeton Avenue, which is her sister's
right.
address. It's my understanding that's where she's residing.
All right, 712 Princeton Avenue,
And it's
Lansing, Michigan.
48915.
Thank you. Ms. Lopez, do you have a phone number that you can be contacted at?
On my tablet, I do.
What's that number, ma'am?
I don't know. It's on my tablet. I have no idea.
All right. Are you on probation or parole, ma'am?
No, I'm not, but I'm going, yeah, I am, but I'm supposed to go to court and these people lock me up for no reason. I'm
All
looking
right.
at,
Are you employed, ma'am?
yes,
Where are you employed at? Where are you employed, ma'am?
the weenie shop.
All right. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Mr. Nickel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. I would note that Ms. Lopez is arraigned or is employed. She works with her sister, doing cleaning jobs. She does have a stable residence to reside at with her sister. She does not appear to have any convictions on her criminal history. And so I would ask the court to consider releasing her on either a personal recognizance bond with appropriate bond conditions or a 10% bond if the court's not willing to consider a PR bond.
Thank you.
And I forgot to.
Second.
Yo, you can watch your mouth, man.
All right, so if you're able to make bond, the following bond conditions will be a part of your bond. No use of alcohol or drugs without a prescription. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim, Alex Harris. And I'm going to place a GPS tether on this felonious assault with victim notification. So no contact, no firearms, and a report to pretrial services within 48 hours. That's it. I'm also I'm gonna have the individual evaluated by CATS. I'm gonna set bond in this matter because of the felonious assault. There's a lack of history. However, there does appear to be a danger of fail to appear at this point. At 4,000, 10%. Ma'am, you understand that your next hearing is probable cause conference on October 27th, 2022 in front of Judge Buchanan. Anything else for the record, Mr. Nickel?
Nothing further for the record, Your Honor.
All right. That's all for the record. We're all set on Ms. Lopez.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.